Welcome in, everybody. Meet me at the coffee pot. We're back. Took a little hiatus there. Congratulations to Rios. He did win the picks competition. It came down to the wire, but he got me in the end. Hey, I'll let you know, your jerseys gonna show up. But I have ordered and had the order be canceled twice.
Yeah,
So I don't know what's going on.
that happened to me with my jersey. Also, when you said congratulations, I thought you were gonna be like he had a kid, and instead he went straight into the.
We don't know. No one really cares about that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're right. It has been. It's been so long that your kid he's in second grade now, I think. And since we've talked last,
Well, he skipped first, so I mean, it hasn't been that long.
yeah, it's only been
Pretty
like
smart.
5 years. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that.
And yeah, honestly, I'm pretty sure you picked more games correctly than I did.
I think you're right.
You just couldn't get a lock to save your life.
I just punish myself every week. I just was just like, let me pick one game. So I don't know. I think we should do it again next year. It was fun, but we'll have to discuss that in the future. We got a lot of we should have some NFL content coming up though, because there's been a lot of free agency stuff. Mitch Trubisky. Did you hear about
I was
that?
about to say big news today. You guys have a backup.
Yeah.
Pretty competent backup.
Dean, of course, immediately texted me that there's going to be the quarterback controversy in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
But today is all about March Madness, the NCAA tournament, and both of us are extremely knowledgeable on everything that happened this year in men's Division I college basketball. So we're going to break down every game. I'm just kidding. We really haven't watched that much. I haven't watched that many games this year.
I started watching Champ Week a little bit, but other than that, like, I have not watched any college basketball.
I think this is one of the fewest games for a whole season I've ever watched of college basketball. I love it though.
I agree. Well, also, so I live on the East Coast now, so it's a little harder to watch Pac-12 games. Also, because they happen like at midnight or something crazy like that. And then also the Arizona Wildcats, which is the team that I usually cheer for, decided to self-ban themselves. We're not banned, all right? We did it to ourselves. Yeah. And
very noble.
Yeah, we're heroes, really. But I'm thinking actually, like, all the brackets I filled out this year, I think I have the best chance of actually having a good bracket this year than any other year. Because usually at the first thing I do is pick Arizona to go all the way to the championship, and then I fill out the rest of the bracket. So I think this year I have a way better chance of maybe having a good bracket.
That's a good way to think about it. So for this episode, though, we are going to do an NCAA bracket. We are going to be breaking down our brackets that we've made. But we are going to do it based on a mascot battle. This is the NCAA mascot battle bracket. We're going to go game by game. We're going to talk about what mascot would win in a fight. And not the mascot, like the guy running around the suit, but like the nickname of the school. And we're going to see who comes out as a champion. I feel pretty confident about my champion. I like to see them win it in real life, in like the actual thing.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think there's only one right answer.
I feel strongly there is only one right answer. Like, my Final Four is got lots of good matchups in it, but there's one clear. So, we'll see. I will have to
admit that I was looking at the mascots as far as the guy dressed up in the suit, and that did influence my picks a lot.
Like if they had a scrawny guy go be a Spartan versus a really strong guy, you're like, I don't know.
I mean, we can talk about it as we go, but you'll see that I have some questionable animals in my Elite Eight, Final Four.
Well, this episode might end up being like 7 hours long then,
because of the pictures, because of how cool the mascot is.
All right, well, fair enough. So let's just start in the West, shall we?
Perfect.
Gonzaga, number 1 seed versus App State or Norfolk State, right?
Yeah. The playing games, I don't really feel like, I was whatever about them. This is the only matchup where I have a Bulldog winning, just so you know. I hate Bulldogs. I think they're the most overrated mascot ever. I think like in real life they can barely breathe. So I don't.
True. They are cool looking though.
Yeah, but I mean, in a fight, they'd get beat up every time.
Here's the thing though. So I took both Norfolk State and App State because they're both a human with a weapon. And I think, I mean, the Mountaineer has like a rifle. Norfolk State guy, Spartan guy, has like a
Spartan.
sword. What?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a Spartan. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So like a Spartan would just cut a bulldog in half. So I mean, I took Norfolk or App State there.
Yeah, I just I'm not gonna lie about this one. Gonzaga is so good. I didn't want
The
I didn't want to pick
basketball started influencing.
I didn't want Norfolk State and Appalachian State to be. I mean, in real life, if it happened, I'd be excited, but
Right.
I couldn't possibly write anything other than the Zags in the second round of that one. But I went with Zags. We can go down the line.
Yeah, let's go down the line.
The 8-9 matchup. So you got my notes. If you look at my notes, my only note for the Mizzou Tigers is I looked at the mascot and I said that Truman Tiger has an ugly dumb face.
Yeah, he's really dopey looking.
He's the dopiest tiger of all time. And I decided that Boomer and Sooner, the two Oklahoma horses, would beat up on this tiger.
We're already this is going off the rails so fast because I didn't look at like the mascot, like the guy in the costume.
You can't. If you look at him, you can't imagine him winning anything.
Yeah, look at their picture. The picture is like a fierce tiger.
I don't.
So I said, okay, a Sooner is like a pioneer. It's like a family in a covered wagon, right, racing across Oklahoma to stake a claim. Yeah. It's just like a guy, and I said a tiger would be the guy.
Okay, well, is it 1v1 like in an arena, or are we like can the guy shoot the tiger?
Why the guy doesn't come with a gun intrinsically like Mountaineer.
He has to be drawn in with the gun? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying like a Sooner doesn't have a gun. Like a Cavalier has a sword.
All right. Oh, well, he has a wagon.
That's true. He does have a wagon. I think, dude, it's a tiger.
Okay. I agree that a tiger would beat a person. I just hate that tiger. Truman Tiger is my least favorite tiger, maybe ever.
It's bad. You're not wrong, but we should have.
His eyes are really close together.
We should have talked about this way more. All right, so we can't. I thought the first couple rounds we would just agree on everything and we could just like rifle through it. We don't agree about anything. Let's just go down. Okay, the Creighton Blue Jays versus the UCSB Gauchos. I'm pretty sure. Right. Yeah. So it's like
a dude versus a Blue Jay.
I don't know that a Blue Jay would be anything really on this list. So give me the Gauchos.
We did this completely differently. Let me tell you why.
Oh no. We need to stop recording right now, dude. Go ahead.
Specifically the Creighton Blue Jay.
Oh,
Blue Jay is awesome. And that's why I said that we probably have a conflict that like our picks would be completely opposite. Because when we decided that we were just going to do the nicknames, when I texted you earlier, I had already done the West. And I had gone based on the actual mascot itself.
So you're saying it's going to get better?
What I'm saying is I have an all Blue Jay Elite Eight.
Is this for real?
They're so much cooler.
They are cooler. You're right. But a Gaucho is a cowboy. A cowboy versus a Blue Jay bird. It's not a question. A cowboy wins.
Okay, if we're doing that, like the actual, yes, I agree. I thought we were doing mascots.
Oh my god.
That's more of like a nickname thing. Like the nickname is the Gauchos. The mascot is a.
Problem is, every school doesn't even have a mascot, so that's why I went off the nickname.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Most of these do. I looked them all up.
And some of them have like mascots, like the dude in the costume that doesn't go with the school at all, or the nickname at all.
Like Tennessee.
Like Tennessee.
That's the first one I was like, oh, this is a big And then that's when I was like, oh, I should probably have done this for the entire first bracket that I already filled out, where the Blue Jays are beating the
Okay.
Cavalry one.
So for the other brackets, did you do nickname?
Yeah. After that, yeah, just because I'm sticking with Billy Blue Jay in the Final Four.
All right. Let's power through.
No, but all right, we'll keep going.
Okay.
Where are we at? Virginia?
Virginia Cavaliers versus Ohio Bobcats. I took the Cavaliers because the Bobcat is a predatory cat, but they're actually not very big. And the Cavalier has a sword, and I think that if it was any type of bigger cat, if it was like a mountain lion or something, I'd take the cat, but I took the Cavalier.
Bobcats are so fast. There's no way. I'm taking the
Really?
Bobcat.
I don't even know, dude.
By the time you draw the
sword,
sword,
killing a person barehanded.
they can kill a person, dude. By the time you draw the sword, they have claws. They're so fast.
They're small. I don't think you understand how small Bobcat.
I've seen a Bobcat.
So have I.
I'm from Arizona.
I'm from Arizona. You're from Florida. I can't. Okay. So wait, we haven't agreed on anything.
No, but this is the first one where we actually.
A Bobcat isn't. It would have a hard time actually killing a person.
I don't think the person could kill a Bobcat. I don't think I can.
He could stab it
with the sword. There's no way he's too slow.
Yeah, but like
he's getting mauled.
Even if he didn't have a sword, the Bobcat could F him up, but he wouldn't kill him.
But he'd win the fight.
All right. Next. If you told me before we started this episode that you will not agree on any of the first 4 games, I'd be like, that's not possible. Good.
All right. USC.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Against Wichita State. Or Drake. And here's the thing. Ready?
Yeah. I already know where this is going.
Are you thinking I'm going to pick Wichita State?
No, go ahead.
Because I thought about it. All right. But I didn't. So obviously, out of the 3, Drake's at the bottom. They're the worst. But I went with the Traveler. I think, the USC Trojan would kill the muscle-bound.
He is extremely strong. It's kind of weird.
But I'm telling you, if we're in a wheat field, right, the Trojan has no chance. That guy's camouflaging. He's beating him up. It's crazy.
Yeah, the problem with the wheat though is it's like the thing is like a sickle, like a thing literally designed to harvest wheat is just like a sharp piece of metal.
Yeah,
and that's what that's what the Trojan's wielding.
That is why I went with the Trojan. I did go with the Trojan on this one.
Good.
Yeah, and honestly, I also didn't think that the first one we agreed on was a Trojan versus wheat. So
I didn't either. I know that's hard to believe. All right. Kansas versus Eastern Washington. So this is a good example of where it's kind of like nickname versus mascot, where I kind of leaned towards mascot because a Jayhawker is like, remember, a Jayhawk is like a guy who moved into the new territory as a politician or something. You know what I mean? It's gangs of people after the American Civil War who moved into the Kansas territory. It's not like anyway. So I kind of thought of it as like that dorky bird versus an eagle, and I went with the eagle.
Yeah, I went with the Eagles too. I actually want the Blue Jays, but if we're gonna actually do it right, we're gonna talk about myself. Then yeah, I would actually pick the Eagle. Like I said, I did have an all Blue Jay. I'm only sticking with Billy. I don't like the Jayhawk anyway. We'll go.
Isn't it like a fake bird? It's like I don't even think it's a real bird.
What's a Blue Jay? I'm pretty sure. Is it not a Blue Jay?
It's blue, but it also has like a bright red head.
A Blue Jayhawk?
I said Blue Jay
Hawk?
Yeah, it's a Blue Jay hawk. Anyway, we're taking the Eagles. Finally.
All right, we'll go Eagles.
All right, Oregon Ducks versus VCU Rams. I took the Ram.
You ever heard
What?
You ever heard of the hypothetical?
Yeah, 100 ducks or a horse or whatever. You can
This
say
is,
it.
that's what I was thinking when I saw this. I'm like, this is literally a horse-sized duck.
Yeah. Well, I took the ram. It's got like weapons on its head. It's
Yeah,
deadly with them. The duck could fly away and evade for a while, but like eventually it would, a duck's not. I mean, that's a tough fight.
it's got to be the ram. Yeah, it's a duck. Ducks aren't gonna beat a ram.
Yeah.
Uh, Iowa against the only team from Arizona in the tournament this year, the Grand Canyon University Antelopes.
Which is really cool. I did
Who'd you-
not know they were the antelopes, so I looked it up.
It's pretty sweet. Who'd you get?
I took the Hawkeyes, and here's why. Antelope are like the most gentle animals I've ever seen in my entire life. My friend Ben was out working with his cows once, and this baby antelope that was just born like that morning or the day before, baby antelope, wild animal, got up, walked across the prairie, and sat at his feet to get pet. They're just like they're super docile, and they don't take a punch very well. They're like well known in like the hunting community of like not taking a hit. So like I've shot 2 antelope, and I've shot 2 bullets at them ever. They just boom, they just crumple, dude. So I took whatever a Hawkeye is, some type of
Hawk.
the eye of a bird. I didn't go with antelope just because they're so friendly and passive.
But I don't. Can a Hawkeye kill an antelope?
I don't think it's like an eye though, right? What is a Hawkeye?
I thought it was just a hawk. This is where I looked at the picture. What?
Yeah, I did a hawk. What'd you pick?
He can mess up an antelope. I don't think he'd kill it.
Yeah, but the antelope has not. The antelope would just run, dude. They have nothing, dude. They're too nice.
All right, dude. I went with antelope. I didn't think that the Hawkeye would be able to do much, or I guess the hawk would be able to do that much damage to the antelope. You know.
You know what? I looked it up. It says a Hawkeye is a native or resident of Iowa. So now it's just a guy standing in Iowa.
A guy from Iowa can definitely beat up an antelope for sure. They're like great wrestlers over there.
That's true, and they're all corn fed.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, I'm definitely going with the dude from Iowa over the gentle creature. Over, you know.
By the way, I will say I'm not being critical of antelope. They're like my favorite animal. I really like them. They're super cool, and they taste really good.
Not cool. Canceled.
I think didn't I send you jerky last year?
Oh yeah, it sounds pretty good. All right.
Probably you've eaten antelope and you've eaten elk now.
I've never eaten a Hawkeye.
Me neither. I'd like to. All right, next.
That's cannibalism. That's cannibalism.
Let's move on.
You're gonna get canceled.
Oh, you know what I just realized?
What?
I'm using the wrong microphone. Hold on.
I'm gonna have to cut this.
Nah,
it's embarrassing.
It gives it a raw realism.
Oh, cutting it.
I saw my microphone in the corner, and I was like, "That's weird. What's that doing over there?"
I was wondering if you were just like over it.
I'm just dumb.
Oh.
That sound better?
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, everybody, skip the first 20 minutes. Welcome to the Meet Me at the Coffee Pot Pocket. I'm just kidding. Let's go. You introduce the next region. Let's keep plowing ahead.
All right, we're going to go region by region, or are we going to finish out each? We're going to finish each region, or are we going to go by round?
I think we should go by round.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep going down the list. We'll go down to the east. You're good with
Sounds
that?
good.
All right. I have, Michigan Wolverines versus Mount St. Mary to Texas Southern. There's only one answer here, and it doesn't matter if you looked at the mascot or if, you're going by actual animals. The Texas Southern Tiger is awesome. Look up the mascot. He's buff. He's the only intimidating tiger out of all of these. There's like six tigers in the tournament. This is the only mascot that's like, whoa, that's a cool tiger.
Oh wow, yeah, he's kind of fierce looking.
Yeah. Like the other ones are all goofy. LSU's Tigers goofy.
Yep. Yeah, that's a tough matchup because dude, Wolverines are crazy. They're like this. They're a crazy animal. I would love to see one. They're like they're like a mix between a badger and a bear. They're just crazy. Like a Wolverine would beat like most things on this list, honestly. But it's tiger. A tiger. That's
Tigers are pretty cool.
Yeah, I went with the Tigers as well.
Yeah. Texas Southern. St. Bonaventure versus LSU. Who you got? Wolf versus Tiger.
I took Tigers again. There's lots of Tigers.
Yeah, I told you there's so many Tigers.
And I took the Tigers.
I went Wolf. I think Wolves are cool, and I was tired of picking Tigers.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Wolves I feel like they kind of need more like the pack deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To really be effective.
Well,
So
if the nickname is Wolves, right? Just I don't know if it is or not for St. Bonaventure, but if it is, do they get the pack? Because if they get the pack, I'm taking the Wolves all day.
You know what I think it is? I think they're the Bonnies.
Yeah, they are the Bonnies, I'm pretty sure.
So they used to be the Indians.
Oof.
I don't know what a Bonnie is. Obviously, you're right. It is a wolf. But the mascot is a wolf. So I thought of it in my mind as a wolf versus a tiger,
That's
and
true.
I took the Tigers.
That's true because like Nevada is the Wolf Pack, so they'd get the pack.
Right. Or an NC State, exactly.
Okay, cool. I still like the Wolf.
All right. Colorado Buffaloes. Finally, we're going to agree on this because I know where you went. Versus the Georgetown Hoyas. A Hoya is a bulldog.
Hate it.
For some reason.
Hate it.
And so, I mean, the buffalo is one of the biggest, baddest land mammals on the planet. So give me buffaloes all day.
All day. They would just when I went to Oklahoma for the first time and I saw one in real life, I was like, oh my goodness, these things are massive. They're awesome.
I saw a buffalo fighting an elk once. Not in person, on video. And it and these elk are huge. And it picked the elk up and just like threw it out of the way like it wasn't even there. And I was just like, these things are super strong. So yeah, give me the buffaloes.
All right, keep it going.
All right, Florida State Seminoles versus UNC Greenboro Spartans. This is a tough human versus human matchup.
Dude, there are some awesome human versus human matchups, specifically in the Midwest. We'll get to them, but I love it.
Yeah, they're kind of the funnest to think about.
Yeah.
But I took the Spartan.
I think
the Seminole Warrior is definitely a tough dude, but like Spartans were like trained to be killers, you know what I mean? So I think it would be close, but the Florida State, I imagine him using a spear because the guy plants a spear. You know, the Florida State Seminole, he plants a spear at the 50-yard line. So I kind of thought like spear versus sword. I went with the Spartan.
You're not gonna go with like an axe? They do the axe.
Yeah, but the actual dude runs around on a horse with a flaming spear, which is really cool.
I also went with UNC Greensboro. I think it would depend on where they're fighting, like the environment. But I think in a 1v1 arena fight, definitely Greensboro takes it.
I didn't tell you, but I think in my mind, I thought of like a UFC octagon a lot.
I was thinking more of like Rome, like a gladiator arena.
Yeah, that's cooler.
Yeah, all right. BYU versus Michigan State UCLA. This one, so the playing game was a little hard for me. A Spartan versus a bear, because that's what the Bruin is. I went with the bear. I understand that the Spartan has a spear and he'd probably have a good chance versus the bear, but depending on the bears are pretty awesome.
And it's a brown bear.
Yeah, it's not a.
Which is the second biggest bear in the world, like only second to polar bears, dude.
They're ginormous.
They're huge.
They're awesome. So
and they're like, don't give an F factor. It's like so off the charts, dude. They're crazy. Yeah, no.
Brown bears are the ones where you're just supposed to like just lay there and die, right? Because you're screwed.
Yeah,
anyway.
black bears you fight, and brown bears, you play dead and hope that it doesn't just
Decide
walks
to
away.
maul you.
Hmm Seriously, dude.
Sweet.
You can fight a black bear for the people out there. They're not that big. But a brown bear, yeah, you better just avoid it.
Yeah, just don't put yourself in that situation. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping the Spartan doesn't, because I got UCLA.
Yeah, no, I'm taking UCLA too.
And I got UCLA coming out over BYU as well.
Me too. Another good matchup. A cougar would take out a lot of stuff on this list, but not a bear.
Oh, brown bear. Exactly.
Nope. All right, Texas Longhorns versus Abilene Christian. What was Abilene Christian? You remember?
I don't remember.
I don't either, but I definitely picked. I looked it up earlier, and I picked the
Longhorns
Longhorns.
are so cool.
They're super cool. I want a Longhorn skull for my house.
I had a Longhorn burger when I was in Oklahoma.
Oh, how was it?
That's pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Abilene Christian's the Wildcats. So
No way. That thing's getting
they would get
impaled.
trampled to death.
Yeah. Trampled, impaled. That thing's done. Yeah, so
Okay.
Texas all the way. This
UConn
one,
Huskies. Go
like as
ahead.
far as like matchups go, I think this would be the most boring fight, right? We got UConn Huskies versus the Terps.
Yeah.
I went with the Husky. I don't know. I feel like the Terp wasn't going to do much damage.
Yeah, this fight would take like days because
Yeah.
the Terrapin would just hide
You know,
and
you
the
can
Husky
flip it
would get
over.
like distracted. But like eventually you're like, yeah, the turtle can't win, or
Yeah.
Terrapin or tortoise or whatever it is.
I
They
looked
look
it up.
like
I'm like, maybe it's one of those ginormous turtles, like they'll bite your leg off. Nah, terrapins are not that big. They're
yeah.
it's literally just a turtle.
Yeah, no, that's a tough. I mean, like this is
Definitely
gonna
not
be dorky.
staying up to watch.
Did you ever play the Pokemon video games
Yeah,
as a kid? Remember Metapod? He was like a cocoon.
yeah.
It's like defense off the charts, but
his
like
only special move was to like just sit there and get harder.
yeah, to get like tougher, to take more damage. That's like the turtle. It's like defense is off the charts, but you get zero offense.
Absolutely, just none.
So yeah, you got to go to the Husky.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, here's another good example.
Definitely
of
not staying up for that matchup, by the way.
yeah, that's on like that's like on True TV. You know, they don't actually put that one on CBS.
Yeah.
Here's the next one coming up is a good example of like nickname versus mascot, because how do you think about the Alabama Crimson Tide?
So
In
I'm
the
not gonna lie, when I
literal
did it-
nickname
yeah,
is offensive lineman, right? It was
Yeah.
like the football team, and he wrote it in the paper. Like
Mhm.
the line was like a crimson tide, and it pushed them all over the field or whatever. So I thought of it as like an elephant.
I
Personally.
went with elephant as well.
Okay,
I
good.
think you have to for this one, which
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
them a
dude.
favorite in this tournament.
Yeah, that's
Elephants are,
tough.
hard to beat. You're
Definitely.
gonna struggle with the elephant.
And Iona's the Gales,
Not beating an elephant.
which is like
It's
I think
just-
it's just like a Gaelic person.
Yeah, it's just a dude. Not
It's
beating
like a
an elephant.
guy, yeah.
Not
So-
1-on-1 at least.
No. Give me elephant all day.
All day.
All right, let's move up to the South. So Baylor Bears versus Hartford. Okay, Hartford should be the Whalers, by the way, but they're not.
That's what I was thinking.
And their mascot looks like a whale tail in the small picture on ESPN, because it's like a hawk kind of going like this. It looks like, I was like, oh, that's so cool. There's all like, but I mean, you got to go with Bears. there.
Whalers hats are also like the most cool hats of all time.
What's a whaler hat?
Not like the Whalers, like the actual Hartford Whalers.
Oh yeah,
hats
no, they had
awesome.
great jerseys too.
Yeah, their whole look is awesome. Whenever
Mhm.
we have an episode about just uniform aesthetics and stuff, which we can probably talk about for 6 hours.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah,
we need
gotta
to.
talk about how cool the Whalers are. I want the bear. I like bears.
Me too.
Pro bear, anti tiger. That's me.
Anti-bulldog.
Anti bulldog. I don't like bulldogs at all. They can't breathe. They're like snorting everywhere. They're like
They
short
can't
stuff.
give birth by themselves.
Yeah, they just die sometimes. All
Do you
right.
know that female bulldogs have to have C-sections?
If it was like really like if humans weren't here, like they just go extinct.
Like they literally cannot birth their own offspring without
That's
human
crazy.
intervention.
That's insane.
So now you can dislike them even more.
All right. This is another nickname one. Tar Heel versus Badger.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I took the Tar Heels because I took it for literally what the Tar Heels were named, which was like a soldier fighting. And so I was like, badgers are tough. They're tough critters. I mean, honey
Small,
badgers, right?
though.
But, I mean, the soldier has a gun. I went with the Tar Heel.
Also, if you go with Ramses, the Ram still
Yeah.
taking it over a Badger. So I think North Carolina wins this mascot and in real life. I think Wisconsin's going to lose. So, boom. A little bit of basketball for you.
I think I picked Wisconsin.
Oof. No, you can't bet against the Blue Bloods. They're coming back.
Well, then go Syracuse. All right, Villanova Wildcats versus Winthrop, some type of bird thing.
Yeah, it's
Eagles,
an eagle. It's an eagle.
hawk. Eagles, so this is
Depends
actually
on the
closer
eagle.
than I think people give it credit for. Like anyone else is doing this. But I took the cat. I took the Wildcat.
I took the Wildcat as well just because it just said eagle. Now, if it was later on, we'll get to a golden eagle, which are insane. I probably would have gone specifically. Like if you specify golden eagle, I'm taking the golden eagle versus most small creatures.
Yeah. I have a very short story about golden eagles that I'll tell when we get there. Go ahead.
All right. Purdue versus North Texas. I think that's another eagle, right? In North Texas.
You know what it actually is, though?
What?
It's the mean green. I'm not kidding.
Oh, that's what is
but
that?
their
What's
picture is a eagle, hawk, falcon type.
What is the mean green actually?
Man, I don't actually know. Let's see. I think I just kind of wrote them off when I did this. I was like, that's stupid, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, I went with Purdue. Doesn't matter. Purdue.
Huge hammer. So
huge hammer. The dude's messing people up with that hammer. I think the size of the hammer is actually going to hurt him later on in the tournament, but
he's really strong, though.
It's so big. I think it's going to slow him down.
Maybe. He does have a hard hat. I think he's wearing a hard hat. You got to keep that.
When we would talk about like what weapon we'd use if we were defending ourselves, and it's like, well, I'd rather take the big wrench than the sledgehammer that's down there.
The 11/16 combination wrench was my weapon of choice when the submarine went all survival of the fittest or whatever.
I like a big 1 1/8 inch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I said 11/16. I meant 1 11/16. It was like this big.
It's a monster, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was like that big, but it wasn't like you said, like a sled. Like it had reach. You know what I mean? It had the weight behind it, but it wasn't so big that like the hammer that it was super slow. So that's what I went with.
Yeah, we have a sledgehammer down there, and I don't think that'd be a good weapon. Just for the record. All right.
But we'll get to that. So yeah, I took Purdue. I just kind of wrote North Texas off. I was like, you get a real name, and then we'll consider you later.
Texas Tech against Utah State, right?
This is a good one.
Here's the thing. This one, I looked up the mascot, and it was probably the worst thing I could have done. Because Big Blue, the Utah State mascot, is awesome.
The bull?
It's a big blue bull. He's buff. He's aggressive. He's mean looking.
Yeah, his eyes, he's got some crazy eyes.
That guy, I don't know, but that guy will mess some people up. So that influenced me. I thought the Texas Tech Raiders versus a bull would be close either way. I went with Big Blue. I went with the bull.
You're right, and I'll tell you how I thought about this. I thought of it as a Red Raider versus an Aggie because they're the Aggies, and I thought of an Aggie as like a farmer, pioneer type person. And I said, although that would be actually kind of a close matchup, the Raiders like more aggressive. You know what I mean? Like they're an outlaw already. So I thought of it as person versus person, not person versus bull. So I took the Red Raider.
Cool.
Which made for a very interesting next round matchup.
Oh, you went.
Which unfortunately you didn't get to.
Was it another Raider?
Because Colgate is the Raiders.
Yeah, you went to another Raider.
Yeah, so we'll get to it. I have a Red Raider versus Raider matchup. So it was a whole thing. Anyway, I took Colgate over the Razorbacks.
I took the Razorbacks. Those animals are mean. You
They're
ever?
super mean. They're
They're just
scary.
mean. They're
I
scary. They always have the homies with them. They're never alone.
Yeah, no, I can actually see that argument. I tend to lean towards humans with guns, maybe a little more than I should have, but
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
All right. So I mean, I have a pretty intense matchup later on when I have the big bull versus the ginormous.
Did you look up Colgate's actual mascot?
It's hideous.
Grade A dork. What is
Yeah,
that?
that didn't help. It's like he's like pasty, scary, creepy looking.
He's like gray and he's wearing a 3-cornered hat.
Yeah, it's like it's creepy too. Like his
That's
face is
horrible.
creepy. Yeah, that definitely also helped with my
If you
decision.
showed me that and you were like, "What is this team's nickname?" I would not say Raider. I'd say
Exactly.
like Maniac Sailor or something. I don't know. That's bad. All right, yeah, you've changed my mind.
Right.
I think I just wanted a Raider matchup. I don't know.
Yeah, you wanted it. You wanted
I
it.
wanted
It's
it.
fine. I changed some based on like what I see his matchup anyway.
Yeah.
Gators versus Virginia Tech. This I big Florida guy here, and Gators are awesome. So I went with Gators.
The Hokey Bird's like a turkey. If you like look up what a Hokey Bird is, I think it's a turkey. So
It's
obviously an
Hokies.
alligator eats turkey.
Yeah, Hokies. That was a mismatch in that round.
Yeah.
Gators are so sweet. They're all over the place here, by the way. All right. So here's like Ohio State's a big like nickname versus Brutus, but also doesn't really matter because what does Brutus even do? Like he's just a dude with the big head.
Yeah, I thought about this and I said out loud to Jamie, I was like, what is the only thing that a Buckeye could be? And then the only thing I could think of was the Indiana sycamore. So I was like, tree versus leaf.
Or maybe an orange.
Yeah, but it's not it's not the fruit. We'll get to that. So yeah, you can't take Ohio State really.
No. Besides, this is the one I was talking about. Oral Roberts, Golden Eagles, they're destroying things. I think the next matchup where I have the Gators versus the Golden Eagles, that's a matchup right there. I'd watch that.
So I went on a field trip once near Laramie when I was in field ecology, and when we were leaving, we went through this gate, and on every fence post by the gate was a golden eagle. There was like 6 of them.
How huge were they?
And that's when I realized I'd seen them before. I'd seen them flying before, but not like I'm opening the gate and there's a bird right there, dude. They are huge. And where I work right now, we have bald eagles, and they seem huge. And they were bigger. The golden eagles are bigger. They're really big.
Yeah.
Huge talons.
All right. That's the South.
All right, we got to pick up
region, which is my favorite region to do this for, by the way. They had a clear favorite, but all the small matchups were they were pretty fun. All right,
kick it off then.
Illinois got the Fighting Illini versus the Drexel Dragons. And here's the thing. What's going to be a dragon? I went with Drexel. Yeah,
if you look at the picture of the dragon, it's got wings, it's flying, it's breathing fire.
It's not a goofy dragon. Like it's a awesome dragon.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a huge problem for anyone in its path. So yeah, I mean Drexel all day, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
No, its actual mascot is kind of scary looking. I mean, what is that?
They were like, hey, we're not gonna mess around and make this cartoonish at all. Like this is gonna be a terrifying dragon. Like it's gonna cause problems.
Dude, I was a high school senior at Noblesville High School in Noblesville, Indiana, and I got a letter in the mail from Drexel University offering me a scholarship to go there, and I never asked. So
I got a bunch of letters, and I probably should have just gone to college, but then we would have never met. So maybe it's
that's true.
I
didn't go to college initially either, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, good job.
Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech. What was Loyola Chicago? I picked them.
They are
the Ramblers.
Yeah, I think so.
What is that? I don't remember. It's like a wolf. It's a wolf.
It's a wolf. Yeah. I went with.
So,
I assumed Georgia Tech was gonna have a whole like squad of bees.
yeah, you usually don't get one yellow jacket.
Yeah,
They're
one
not bees either. They're wasps.
Yeah,
you know?
which are terrifying.
Yeah, I kind of went like they hurt and they're the worst, but unless you have an allergy, they're not gonna kill you.
Yeah, but if
And
you get
eventually,
swarmed,
a wolf is just gonna be like,
yeah, but if you get swarmed,
yeah, no, that's bad. That's
it's
a
like a
bad day.
wolf gets swarmed by yellow jackets, which are terrifying. By the way, I don't like them.
I kind of like them.
I don't want to. Wasps.
I will.
I hate wasps. I'm okay with bees. I do not like wasps.
We have Arizona since I've lived here has the friendliest yellow jackets of anywhere I've ever lived. It's bizarre because I drive around with the fish food and stuff in the back, and I have like trash and stuff. And so in the summer, there's like yellow jackets everywhere. And one time I grabbed the steering wheel and there was a yellow jacket in there and it didn't sting me. And I was like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, you're not doing this right. But anyway, so I thought of it as one yellow jacket versus one wolf. So I took the wolf, but I get your argument. But let's face it, it's facing a fire breathing dragon next round. So I think we can just move on.
Yeah. Okay. Keep it going.
I want to hear what you thought about Tennessee.
This right here is probably these next couple matchups are probably some of my favorite ones that we're talking about. We'll start with Tennessee versus Oregon State. Well, I guess that one's easy. I think the second round of these matchups is way better. Tennessee versus Oregon State. I think that one's funny because I think I'm pretty sure the Volunteers all they did was hunt beavers. So
They were definitely, they were doing at least some of that.
yeah. So definitely with the Volunteers there.
Yep, me too.
And that's when I texted you and I was like, hey, are we doing the Volunteers or are we doing the dog?
Yeah, I would say in this round it didn't really matter, but I thought of it as the soldier.
Cool. I went with that too. I think the fight's better. All right, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys versus the Liberty, and these are bald eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, I went.
I took Oklahoma State. Again, I went with humans with guns.
Yeah, Cowboys are pretty cool. Which is why I called you because I'm like, hey, Volunteer versus Cowboy, way better matchup than Cowboy versus dog.
Yeah. This is a stupid podcast. All right. My favorite matchup, San Diego State Aztec losing to Syracuse Orange. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I took the Aztec for sure.
Or Warriors.
Yeah, no. And orange, it's not even
orange.
It's not even if you go by the mascot, obviously it's just an orange. And then if you go by the history of what the name represents, no one even really agrees. So it's it's kind of I hate to say it because they're my favorite team, but it's kind of like a Texas Mean Green situation. It's come back to me when you have a real name, and then maybe we'll talk
figure it out. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And we'll see if you can beat an Aztec Warrior. All right.
Yeah. All right. West Virginia Mountaineers versus Morehead State Eagles again.
Yep, another Eagle.
Are there more Eagles or Tigers in this tournament? There's a lot of both.
Definitely a lot of them.
All right, I went with the Mountaineer. That's a rugged individual. Again, has weaponry. The dude
those dudes are taking out eagles for fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say that dude probably has eagle feathers in his hat.
That guy's designed to kill an eagle.
I agree.
All right, Clemson Tiger versus Rutgers. I think this is actually a good matchup.
Me too.
We got the Knight versus the Tigers, and I think honestly, I took Rutgers on this one.
So did I.
All right, cool.
It's going a lot more smoothly.
Yeah. So, and the deciding factor, because I don't know if you remember earlier, I chose Cat versus the dude with the sword, but this guy's got the armor. I assume he's ready to go. Definitely taking him to beat the Tiger.
And if you look at the mascot, the dude he's riding a horse, he's got a sword, and he's inch to toe covered in metal. So that's a
completely bulletproof.
Yeah, that's a good, maybe not bulletproof,
tiger
but probably tiger proof.
All right. Houston Cougars versus Cleveland State. Who you got?
This is tough too because cougars. It's like that's a whole next step. It's below like lions and tigers, but it's like a whole next step above wildcats and bobcats and things like that. But the Vikings are some of the like again. They don't have like metal armor, but they have a shield. They got the helmet. They have a sword or an axe, and they're some of the toughest dudes in history. So I had to give the edge to the Vikings.
I also want Vikings. I mean, they're awesome. They're fighters. They just kill. And the mascot's pretty cool. His name's Magnus. No big deal.
That is
look
cool.
these guys
Is
all
it a
up.
guy or is it a suit?
It's a suit, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. That'd be cool if they just had some huge guy, you know what I mean? Just like being a Viking.
I don't remember, but I think it was a suit.
Maybe with a giant blonde mustache, even.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he is pretty tough. Like the actual guy's kind of like looks like he's kind of growling.
You should apply to be Cleveland State's mascot.
I'd move for that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
I'd move to Cleveland tomorrow. If you type in Cleveland State mascot, you get 1,000 pictures of Brutus the Buckeye. So that's great. All right. So let's move on to the next round.
All right.
Head back up into the West.
All the way back up to the West. Yeah, let's get the West over with.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just a disaster.
A disaster. You can go ahead and go your matchup.
Okay, I took the vicious cat tiger. I know the actual mascot's a dork. The picture's a pretty tough tiger. I took the tiger over the person, be it a mountaineer or a Spartan. I took the tiger.
All right. Well, my matchup was a bulldog versus two horses. I took the two horses. Also, I take the actual sooner, right, over the bulldog.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tiger would probably. I guess I would have gone tiger. That probably would have won. But I have Oklahoma.
So Gaucho versus Cavalier. I didn't know in my head if the Gaucho like really like had a gun with him or not, and he's like more like a cowboy. Like cowboys do have guns, but like not necessarily. And the Cavalier is like he's like a trained soldier. You know what I mean? He's like really efficient with the sword. So I took the Cavalier.
All right. Well, I told you I have Billy Blue Jell all the way through, but I agree. I would have had the Bobcat either way on this one, but I would have taken. Yeah, I guess I'm going with the Bobcat. All right.
Cavaliers had guns too, by the way. So
did they? That's pretty cool. USC versus. I guess you went with the Eagle, right? Eagles.
Yeah. Yep. Trojans versus an Eagle.
Has to be USC, dude.
Agreed.
Trojans, pretty cool. Yeah, not much to say about that. We have VCU versus Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I took the Ram because, again, I thought of it as kind of like the bird. Ram is.
You think you could hit it though? You think you could get any hits?
I think that the hawk would have to be like constantly like swooping down, taking runs at him, and eventually he would knock him out.
That'd be interesting to watch.
I think also underrated is a ram has like really thick fur, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like gonna be hard to penetrate for a bird.
Yeah, you're not doing too much damage. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I agree. I got VCU coming out.
All right, down to the east. I have the Texas Southern Tiger versus the LSU Tiger. Right?
I have I picked the Wolf. I picked St. Bonaventure. I have the Wolf.
Oh yeah.
But I have Texas Southern coming out.
So I didn't. I had LSU, but I don't know why, because they're both Tigers, and I think I just went with
the bigger
maybe
school.
Who was better at basketball. So I think you've convinced me that the Texas Southern Tiger, now that I don't think I looked it up before, he is definitely tougher.
Yeah, definitely would beat up the LSU Tiger. Colorado got the Buffalo versus Greensboro, which is
it was a Spartan.
The Spartan, and I went with the Spartan on this one. Buffaloes are tough, but depending on what weapon he's using, a spear, I think I'd take the Spartan. We're eating bison burgers.
I agree with you, but I actually did take. Now it's interesting. I looked him up. He does have a spear, and in my head, I think he kind of had a sword, and I thought he was gonna have to get real close, not like a projectile. and the buffalo is just going to charge him and trample him to death. That is a really good point about the spear. So I took the buffalo, but I cede your point about the Spartan.
All right, cool. Bruin, big brown bear versus the longhorn. I'm taking the bear. You have to
Me
go with the
too.
bear. The bear's a monster. The
Just
huge,
yeah.
huge matchup coming up in the Sweet 16 because I also have the elephant just destroying the husky. The husky's got no chance.
Yeah, that's not even.
That's messed
The
up.
husky came out of the most boring matchup, and then it got destroyed in the first round.
I'd be sad watching that. I'll just say that.
Yeah, no one wants to see that.
All right. Baylor versus North Carolina. I got the Tar Heel versus the Bear. I got the Bear coming out again.
For sure.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Even if the Tar Heel got like a shot off of, but he's gonna have like this old timey musket that's gonna take him like a minute to reload, and the
big
bear would
hunter,
just,
right? But like, first of all, the muskets weren't very accurate, and if he did hit it, like
the bear would just keep charging at him.
Yeah, one isn't taking him down, right? Like, by the time he reloads it, he's done.
I totally agree.
Okay, cool.
So I had Villanova moving on against the Boilermaker, big strong guy making boilers, has a sledgehammer, and I have Purdue Pete smashing the Wildcat with a hammer.
Same. Purdue
moving on.
Wildcats. Easy day. I think it's gonna go way faster now that we talked about all the mascots, and now we can just like roll through
That's
them.
true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, we kind of hashed it out to begin with.
Yeah. All right. See, this is my favorite matchup. I got 2 stars just because I did look at the mascot. So I have the Big Bull versus the Razorback, which I think would be an awesome fight to watch. I got the Bull coming out. I got Utah State coming out against Arkansas.
So this is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite matchups too, which is funny because I had the exact opposite. So I have the Texas Tech Red Raiders versus the Colgate Raiders, and I took Texas Tech. It's just way cooler. Like, it's got like a cape and a hat, and it's like they're on horseback. They're not like
the Colgate
wearing a 3-cornered hat and being
a
a confused sailor. They're wearing all black. They're wearing a mask, so like they're ready to kill. They're just like
awesome.
Take the Red Raiders.
All right. We got the Gators versus the Oral B Golden Eagles. I went with the Gators. I think they're big enough to hold their ground. They have like a thick skin. They're not gonna like get destroyed by the Golden Eagle, and I think eventually, the Gator will get the Eagle down. Yeah,
I think the Gator may be the least intimidated. Even if they're overwhelmed, they might be the least intimidated nickname on here. Like, they're not. They'll hang around with the Eagle, and they'll eventually take it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Dude, what does a Gator care about? Like, nothing.
They just like walk around and like
they're just like
if something gets close to them, they eat it. Like, they don't even go out of their way.
Do you see them?
Yeah, they're all over base.
Oh yeah.
Like people like by the gym where people run, there's just like a pond with like a gator in it.
That's really cool.
They're everywhere.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool. All right. Kind of a mismatch here. We picked different things coming out of the first round, but I have the Dragons versus the Yellow Jackets. I went with the Dragon. I don't think it matters.
Fire breathing dragon next round.
Yeah. All right. This is my favorite matchup, I think. I got the Volunteers versus the Cowboys, and I think this would be one of the best ones to watch. Awesome human versus human matchup. I went with the Volunteers, dude. They're awesome.
So I went with the Cowboys, and I'll tell you why. I thought that the Volunteers nickname came out of volunteer soldiers from the Civil War.
No, War of 1812.
But it came out of the War of 1812. Exactly. And cowboy culture arose more in the mid to late 1800s. And I thought it was just a really close matchup. And I gave the weaponry technological edge to the cowboy. Kind of going back to what we said about Tar Heel. More inaccurate weaponry. If you miss once, reloading. Whereas the cowboy's going to have like a revolver and bam, 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 bam. So I think it was close. I think the Volunteers tougher. But I think technologically, the Cowboy edge.
I went with a volunteer just because it was a little earlier. I think he's in a war. I think it's a little tougher.
That's true. He is like more
scenario.
hardened. Like
Yeah.
he's baptism by fire, whereas a
Like I
Cowboy's
said,
just kind of messing with.
I think
That's
either one could come out of that matchup. That's an awesome matchup to watch.
true.
But,
I'd love to see that. Yeah.
All right. This is I think another good one. Speaking of human
Yes.
versus human
This
matchups,
bracket's awesome.
We
This
got-
whole bracket's all. Yeah, you're right. This round's great.
we got the Aztecs versus the Mountaineers, and I went with West Virginia because I think they're gonna have guns. They're gonna have better technology. If it was like, hand-to-hand combat, I probably would have gone Aztecs. But I think you have to go with the guy with the gun on this one.
I went with the Aztec. There's something about the Aztec, dude, that's just like an Aztec warrior that strikes fear into the heart. And a Mountaineer is a tough guy, and you're right, he has a gun and he's like roughing it out there, but he's not like necessarily like looking to pick a fight. You know what I mean? They're just like they're out there kind of surviving. And the Aztec, dude, at least in my mind, the Aztec warrior is just like.
I mean, they like cut people's hearts out.
Yeah, they're cutting the beating hearts out of living people. So like, it was a really close matchup. But I went with just like the sheer intimidation factor. I thought the Mountaineer might be a little apprehensive, and that would give the Aztec warrior a little jump. So I went
for sure. I mean, I completely think I agree with you. I'd go either way, but I don't think I got the gun.
Dude, and if you look up the guy, he's like blowing on a seashell when it's just like all and he's got a skull on his forehead. Like he's wearing
awesome.
He's wearing the skull of a human being. That's badass.
All right. And then we have this is probably we had 3 awesome matchups in a row. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights versus Cleveland State Vikings. Which is, this is a rivalry, I think. Like, right? Like Knights versus Vikings. That goes back to when the Vikings were around. And because I've been watching the show Vikings a lot, I went with the Vikings. I think 1 versus 1, the Vikings were just better fighters. I think they'll take out the Knights. What do you got?
I think the Vikings are a little bit better fighters, but I think their weaponry is pretty close. And I think the Knight has such better defense. I mean, the Vikings running around in like a cotton shirt. You know what I mean? I think they'll be locked in battle, but I think that the covered in metal Knight with the helmet and the face covering and everything, I went with the Knight.
Well, I think the difference is Vikings were out here just trying to kill people. They were bred for war. They were awesome.
That's true. I kind of think of Knights though. Like the Knight in Shining Armor guy. He's like a squire, like selected from birth, and he's like trained, and he's like really good. I don't know. It's close, man. It's close, but I went with the Knight.
Lots of good matchups in the Midwest.
Yeah.
All right, we're in the Sweet 16. We'll power through the West again. You can start at the top. What's up?
So, Missouri Tiger versus Virginia Cavalier is what I have, and I think I kind of thought of more like the dual weaponry of the Cavalier too. Like he's got a sword and a musket or whatever, and so he might be able to get a long range shot. And then as he's getting charged, he's gonna stab the thing. So it's tough, but I think I gave the edge to the Cavalier.
All right. My bracket says I have the Blue Jay beating up on the horses. So we'll move on.
You stupid Blue Jays. Go ahead.
Kansas versus VCU is what I have. Well, yeah, I changed it to USC because I thought it was a Blue Jay. It was not a Blue Jay. But I have we decided USC was coming out of that one. I'm over the Blue Jays.
At least half of them.
At least half of them. And then so USC versus the Rams, and I have the Spartan coming out of that one again.
The Trojan,
yeah, sorry. Trojan coming out versus the VCU Rams.
Totally agree. The Ram had a good run. I think the ram had a deeper run than a lot of people thought. It's a sheep.
Yeah. It was
But-
matchups, right? Because you have Cougars coming out in the first round versus this ram that just had good matchups.
Exactly. But yeah, I give the edge to the Trojan for sure.
All right.
All right, so down to the east, the Texas Southern Tiger versus the Colorado Buffalo. I don't know if I'm like being biased because my favorite sports teams come from the city of Buffalo, but like I also have seen them in person, dude, and like you said, they're just huge animals. And you were there. We went to the San Diego. Remember when we went to the San Diego Zoo thing?
Yep.
I'll never forget this because I don't know why, but I won't. When we took the tour where you actually got on the truck and they drove you around, and the guy, he pointed at some big giant cow thing, and he was like, "That's the nastiest, meanest animal we have at the zoo." And what he said was, and that always stuck with me. He said, "If you ever see a non-predator, so like things that eat grass or plants, whatnot, that's all dark colored, watch out for it because they don't give a damn if you can see them." Because like you think like a gazelle or an antelope or stuff, they're all orange because on colorblind things, orange blends in with green, and they're gonna run. Like a buffalo is not a predator, and it's stuff that gets eaten by predators, and it's like, yeah, I'm right here, dude, like come over. So I don't know, I think they're just one of the most badass animals, so I took the buffalo.
I had the Buffalo losing last round against Greensboro, but I do have the Tiger coming out on top of that one. I do. I mean, that Tiger's beating anyone. All right.
The Texas Southern Tigers captured your heart.
Yeah. Almost as much as the Utah State Bull. All right.
Yeah.
This is a matchup right here. This is awesome. We have the UCLA Bruin, the Big Brown Bear versus Bama. Roll Tide. We have an elephant versus a bear in the Sweet 16. I went with Bama. Roll Tide.
I get it. I think you can make the argument. I took the bear. I think that they're just going to be going just like blow for blow, dude. And I think that the downfall of the elephant is that his weaponry is really good, but he's got to catch you with the tusk. Like he's got to catch you. He's got like huge knockout power.
I don't think so. I think an elephant with some momentum, right? You have there's a high probability you're getting trampled.
No, I don't think so, dude, because bears are like freakishly agile. They're like really fast. I think that the bear. I think that this is how I see it. I think the elephant has like knockout power, but I think that they're gonna be battling, and the bear's just gonna tear it up with his claws, his huge claws, and just tear it up, and eventually wear the elephant down.
Yeah. All right, but I mean, if the elephant gets his hit in, it's done.
I agree.
All right, cool. As long as we agree on that.
Like I said he's like a heavyweight fighter, which is funny because they're like the heaviest animal. But yeah.
All right, heading over to the south, we got the Baylor Bear versus Purdue Boilermakers. Guy with the hammer versus bear. I went with bear.
I took the bear again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Purdue Pete, he's got the helmet, but he's not really protected any other way. Like you said, he's going to be able to swing that hammer about one time, and then the bear's going to just be all over him.
You know, like your backswing, you're done. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I have Utah State, Big Blue coming out against Florida Gator. This is actually hard for me because I really like Utah State, but I went with the Gator. I think the Bull would do some damage just because he's, over him. He'd probably try to stomp on him, do some trample damage. But then I think if the Gator gets his leg, drags him into the water, he's done.
That's tough.
He's done.
That's tough. That's like a classic matchup, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just feels like it. But I had a Gator versus a Red Raider, and I took the Gator for sure. Like I said, and again, I'm picturing like some giant monster. I mean, he's a pretty tough looking Gator too. So yeah. I took the Gator.
Sweet. Dragon versus the Volunteer, and I think Volunteer. I think he went on a good run, and he's going up against the fire-breathing Dragon, which historically, based on Disney movies, a lot of times the dragon will go down. But I don't think he's going down this one. I like the dragon on this one.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I have thoughts on that will come up later. But yeah, so I had the cowboy going through the last round, but fire breathing dragon versus cowboy, fire breathing flying dragon wins.
Ooh, I know
All right, San Diego State. My matchup here was San Diego State Aztec versus the Rutgers Scarlet Knight. And again, this is like I said last round with the Aztec, it was really close with the Mountaineer, but I gave him the edge. I don't think he's gonna have enough firepower to get past the Knight, who has similar weaponry and more defense. So I took the Knight.
Yeah, I think Knights actually messed up the Aztecs.
Yeah. That's actually I didn't think about that, but that's a pretty good point.
All right, I have West Virginia, the Mountaineer versus the Cleveland State Viking, and so you're kind of swaying me with the whole Aztec beating the Mountaineer thing, but I did go West Virginia coming out. I've once again picked the guy with the gun versus the Viking. I think if you catch the Mountaineer off guard, the Viking, takes him out easily. Bigger guy, ready to fight. But I think if the Volunteer gets a shot off, obviously he wins. So I have the not the Volunteer, the Mountaineer coming
You
out.
avoided the super fun matchup of
Aztec
Knight in shining armor versus a dragon, like a Disney movie.
Yeah,
We'll get to it.
But I think honestly, I'm more sad that I missed the Viking versus Aztec Warrior matchup, which I think would have been awesome too.
Yeah, we could do a separate podcast about that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. All right, back to the West.
6 hours about that.
So I am sending to the Final Four from the West in my matchup of the USC Trojans versus the Virginia Cavaliers. The USC Trojan. It's another hand-to-hand combat situation, and I think the Trojan has a helmet that the Cavalier doesn't,
and a horse.
I don't know. They're just like
awesome horse.
Yeah, exactly. And they're trained fighters too. They're pretty tough. So I took the Trojan.
I think if I would have done it the way you did, I'd probably be taking the Trojan coming out here too. But instead, I have Billy the Blue Jay coming out of the West. All right, keep going.
All right, sending to the Final Four from the East, I have the UCLA Bruin versus the Colorado Buffalo. And as much as I just talked about how much I love Buffaloes, I have it finally meeting his match. And I'm sending the UCLA Bruin to the Final Four.
Out of the East?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got the Texas Southern Tiger versus the Bama Elephant. And I have the Elephant coming out.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's another great matchup. Probably trample a tiger, just like you trample a bear.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Maybe one day we'll see.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right, who do you got in the South?
I have Baylor Bear versus the Gators, which is an awesome matchup, I think. This one was hard for me. I went with Baylor. I think they were the favorite coming in. Big Bear versus, I think they're more agile. They have, sharp claws and stuff. I think I got them over the Gators.
I agree. It's cool we actually have the same matchup finally. And I think the Gators, maybe just a bit too passive in this matchup, and the Bears going to be able to eventually take it out. So I sent Baylor to the Mascot Final Four.
Yeah, me too. All right. This is you lead this one off since you have the rivalry going on. You have a all-time rivalry.
Okay, I said earlier that this is my favorite matchup by far. So you have a fire-breathing Drexel Dragon versus a Rutgers Scarlet Knight. And at first I was like what you're saying, kind of in the movies and in the lore, and the story of St. George slaying the dragon. People who kill dragons are knights.
Yeah,
But this is what swayed me. Whenever the knight, he enters the castle and he busts through the ramparts on the outside and he gets in, what do you see? There's the dead remains of knights everywhere, right? There's skulls on the ground and stuff like that. And it's because it's the knight in the story we're watching is the chosen one. But normally the night we see the 1 out of 9, like every 9 out of 10 times the dragon wins. We just don't see that because no one tells that story. We always see the knight vanishing the dragon and saving the lady in the tower. So I almost went with knight, but I went with who actually I think gets the job done 9 out of 10 times, the Drexel dragon.
And let's be honest, if there's gonna be a knight taking out a dragon, that dude did not go to Rutgers. So
Yeah, that's true.
definitely not.
They may have invented college football, but
The dude is not. He's not from Jersey.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, mine's way easier. I have the Drexel Dragon versus the West Virginia Mountaineer. Easy day. Dragon takes him out. Dragon's in the Final Four. My Final Four is Billy Blue Jay versus Alabama Elephant. I got Baylor Bear versus Drexel Dragon.
I have the USC Trojan versus the UCLA Bruin on one side, and the Baylor Bear versus the Drexel Dragon on the other.
Perfect. All right.
I'm gonna be pretty annoyed if you don't send a Blue Jay to the final. Go ahead.
Couldn't do it, dude. I could not do it. I don't see it. I don't see even the mean Creighton Blue Jay, Billy Blue Jay. I don't even see him beating this elephant. I have this they're a favorite. I have Bama in the championship over Billy Blue Jay. And then on the other side, I have Drexel over Baylor. You know, the Bear, awesome. He had a great run, but flying, fire-breathing dragon, he's not going to lose.
So on the one side, I had the USC Trojan versus the Bruin. I think you made a really great argument for the Alabama Elephant being there, but I ended up going with the Bruin, and the Bruin's going to take down the Trojan in this round. And then I wanted to do we were this close to an all bear matchup, but it's a fire breathing dragon, so I went with Drexel.
All right, and I guess it was pretty easy. I have an elephant versus a fire breathing dragon. I went with Drexel winning the championship here.
Yep, your 2021 national champion will be the Drexel Dragons. I've never been more confident after we walked through this. The Drexel Dragon definitely wins.
Yeah, we ran through this. And I figured we'd probably end up having a lot of similar matches. We had a lot of matchups that were actually completely the opposite of what I thought were going to happen. But at least we got the same champion.
It's funny, though, because, I started on the West, and I went there. So, the Midwest, just the way the bracket was out, the Midwest was the last one I got to. So I was, thinking of, all these matchups and looking up stuff, and then I got to the Dragon and I was like, oh, this is kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. It was the last one I did, and I'm like, who's gonna beat this?
Yeah, no. And then I looked it up too, and I saw the picture of it, and I was it's not like a fairy dragon or something.
No,
It's a real thing.
It's a dragon.
So there you go. There you have it. Drexel Dragons.
Drexel Dragons. Put money on it. Actually, I would actually be very excited if Drexel won the championship.
I would love a 16 seed to win a championship.
But I don't think it's gonna happen. All right, before we go, who you got winning it all?
I have in my real. Well, let me just tell you. I'll tell you my final four. We'll just break that down real quick. My final four in my real bracket is number 2 Iowa versus number 2 Alabama, and I have number 1 Baylor versus number 1 Illinois. I do have quite a bit of upsets, but I think this is going to be another year where the higher ranked teams actually make it up. I will say I do have Gonzaga losing in the round of 32.
In the round of 32?
Yeah, to Oklahoma.
They are so good. All right.
Dude, they always blow it when they get in they get in the tournament with the big boys, and they're not playing Mount St. Mary's Sisters of the Poor anymore. They just I don't know, they blow it. I like Gonzaga for the record. I would love to see them win.
They've never been this good. Their top 4 players are awesome. I have my final 4: Kansas versus Texas, Baylor versus Illinois. I picked Texas beating Kansas and Illinois beating Baylor, and Illinois winning the championship.
I have Illinois winning the championship too. Look at that. I have Illinois.
They're gonna win. Put money on it.
I have Illinois beating Alabama 68-60.
Nice.
So there
you have it. A little bit of mascot talk and some actual basketball talk to round it off.
Yeah, about
we're gonna have
even amounts of both.
We have to do an NFL free agency talk, and yeah.
I agree.
All right. I'll talk to you later, dude.
All right, I'll talk to you later.